The bell above the cafe door chimed, and I looked up from wiping down the counter. My heart stopped. It can't be. Yoon Jaewook stood in the doorway, looking exactly as devastatingly handsome as he had 5 years ago. Maybe even more so. His sharp jawline, those piercing dark eyes, the way his expensive suit hugged his broad shoulders, everything about him screamed power and control. The same control he'd used to shatter my heart. "Daddy, I want the chocolate cake." Hyunwoo tugged at my apron, completely oblivious to the way my world had just tilted on its axis. I quickly crouched down, pressing a finger to my lips. "Sure, baby. Use your inside voice, remember?" Jaewook's eyes swept across the cafe, and I ducked behind the counter, my pulse racing. "Please don't see me. Please don't recognize me. Can I help you, sir?" My employee, Minji, greeted him with a bright smile. "Black coffee. No sugar." That voice. Deep, commanding, exactly as I remembered it whispering against my skin in the darkness. I squeezed my eyes shut, trying to calm my breathing. 5 years. I'd spent 5 years building a life without him, raising our son alone, convincing myself I was over him. One look, and I was 19 again, helplessly in love with a man who'd chosen his family's expectations over me. "Daddy." Hyunwoo's worried little face appeared in my line of sight. "Why are you hiding?" "I'm not hiding, sweetheart. I'm just looking for something." "Miho SSI." Minji called out. "Can you make this black coffee? I need to handle the register." "Shit." I stood slowly, keeping my head down as I moved to the espresso machine. My hands trembled as I ground the beans. Maybe he wouldn't recognize me. I'd changed, hadn't I? I'd cut my hair shorter, filled out a bit more, no longer the skinny college student he'd. "Miho." I froze. That voice saying my name still had the power to undo me. Slowly, I lifted my gaze to meet his. Jaewook's eyes widened in shock, his coffee cup halfway to his lips. For a moment, we just stared at each other across the counter, 5 years of silence stretching between us like a chasm. "You." He set down his cup carefully, as if afraid any sudden movement might make me disappear. "You're here." "I work here." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "Your coffee is ready." "Miho, Daddy, you said I could have cake." Hyunwoo appeared beside me, his small hands gripping the counter as he tried to peer over it. I watched in horror as Jaewook's gaze dropped to my son. To our son. Hyunwoo had inherited his father's eyes, those unmistakable dark, intense eyes. The same slightly upturned nose. The same stubborn set to his jaw. "Daddy," Jaewook repeated slowly, his eyes snapping back to mine with an intensity that made my stomach drop. "He's my nephew," I lied quickly, the words tumbling out in panic. "I'm watching him for my sister." Jaewook's expression darkened. He leaned across the counter, close enough that I could smell his cologne. Expensive, masculine, achingly familiar. "Don't lie to me, Miho," he said softly, dangerously. "How old is he?" "That's none of your business." "Like hell it isn't." His hand shot out, gripping my wrist across the counter. The touch sent electricity shooting up my arm. "We need to talk. Now." "I'm working." "Then I'll wait." He released me, but his eyes never left mine. "I'll wait all day if I have to. But we are going to talk, Miho. About everything." He settled into a corner table, his coffee forgotten, his gaze burning into me as I tried to focus on my work. But my mind was racing. After 5 years of silence, Jaewook was back. And now he knew. Or at least he suspected. And knowing Jaewook, he wouldn't stop until he uncovered every secret I'd been keeping. God, what have I done? I lasted exactly 45 minutes before my shift ended. 45 agonizing minutes of feeling Jaewook's eyes tracking my every movement. Watching as Hyunwoo colored at a small table near the window. Observing the way our son laughed, moved, existed. "Minji, I'm heading out," I said, untying my apron with shaking hands. "Sure thing. See you tomorrow. Oh, that gentleman asked me to tell you he's waiting outside." "Of course he is." I took Hyunwoo's hand and pushed through the door, the autumn air cool against my flushed cheeks. Jaewook was leaning against a sleek black car, arms crossed, looking like every Omega's fantasy and my personal nightmare. "We're going home," I said firmly, trying to walk past him. He pushed off the car, blocking my path. "Miho, please." That word, please, from a man who never begged for anything, stopped me in my tracks. "Hi." Hyunwoo piped up, waving at Jaewook with innocent friendliness. "You were at my daddy's café. Do you like chocolate cake too?" Jaewook crouched down to Hyunwoo's level, and my heart clenched at the sight. "I do like chocolate cake. What's your name?" "I'm Hyunwoo. Kang Hyunwoo. I'm 4 years old." He held up 4 fingers proudly. I watched Jaewook's face go pale. His eyes squeezed shut briefly, and when they opened again, they were suspiciously bright. "4 years old," he repeated hoarsely. He stood, his gaze locking onto mine with an intensity that made my knees weak. "Miho, please, just give me an hour. 1 hour to explain, to listen to." His voice cracked. "Please." I wanted to say no. Wanted to protect myself, protect Hyunwoo from the man who'd walked away when I'd needed him most. But the raw pain in his eyes matched the wound I'd been carrying for 5 years. "1 hour," I whispered. "But not here. And Hyunwoo stays with my friend." 30 minutes later, we were in his penthouse apartment. Of course he had a penthouse. Probably bought with his family's money, the same money that had been more important than me. "Drink," Jaewook offered, his back to me as he stood at the bar. "I don't want a drink. I want you to say whatever you need to say so I can leave." He poured himself whiskey instead, downing it in 1 gulp. Then he turned to face me. "Is he mine? Does it matter? Does it matter?" He crossed the room in 3 strides, gripping my shoulders. "Miho, if that child is mine, if you were pregnant when you left." "When I left." I shoved him away, anger finally overriding my fear. "You told me to leave. You stood in your father's office and chose them over me. You said we were a mistake." "I never said that. You said your family would never accept an Omega like me. You said it was better if we ended things cleanly." Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. So I left. And 3 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. Jaewook staggered backward like I'd punched him. 3 weeks. "You knew for 5 years and you never." His hands fisted in his hair. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Tell you what?" "That I was carrying the child of a man who'd abandoned me? That I needed help from someone who'd made it clear I wasn't worth fighting for? I would have fought for you." He closed the distance between us again, his hands cupping my face with a gentleness that betrayed his desperate expression. "Miho, I spent every day of these 5 years regretting that conversation. Searching for you. You changed your number, moved apartments, disappeared like you'd never existed." "That was the point," I whispered. "I was a coward." His thumb brushed away a tear I hadn't realized had fallen. "My father threatened to cut me off, to destroy your family's business. I thought I was protecting you by letting you go. But I was just protecting myself from having to fight. And now. His forehead pressed against mine, his breath warm against my lips. "Now I run the company. My father retired 2 years ago. Now I have the power I didn't have then. Now I would burn down everything I've built if it meant having you back." "Jaewook, I never stopped loving you, Miho. Not for a single goddamn day." The kiss was inevitable. Desperate. 5 years of longing compressed into the press of his lips against mine, the way his hands slid into my hair, the soft groan he made when I opened for him. It was like coming home and falling apart all at once. "I hate you," I gasped against his mouth, even as my fingers clutched at his shirt, pulling him closer. "I know." He kissed down my jaw, my neck, finding that sensitive spot below my ear that still made me shiver. "Let me spend the rest of my life making it up to you. You left me alone." My voice broke. I was terrified and pregnant and alone. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so fucking sorry." He pulled back just enough to look into my eyes, his own swimming with tears. "But I'm here now. And if you'll let me, if you'll give me a chance, I swear I'll never leave again. Not you, not our son." "He doesn't know," I whispered. He thinks his father didn't want him. Pain flashed across Jaewook's face. Then let me prove him wrong. Let me prove you both wrong. I wanted to say no. To protect my heart the way I should have 5 years ago. But looking into his eyes, seeing the genuine remorse and desperate hope there, I found myself nodding. One chance, I breathed. You get one chance, Jae. If you hurt him, I won't. I swear on everything I am, I won't hurt either of you ever again. He sealed the promise with another kiss, deeper this time, his hands sliding under my shirt, relearning the body he'd once known so well. And God help me, I let him. Absolutely not. Minho, be reasonable. Reasonable? I whirled around in my small apartment kitchen, pointing the spatula at Jaewook like a weapon. You want to tell our 4-year-old son that you're his father after he spent his entire life thinking he was unwanted? That's not reasonable, that's traumatic. Jaewook, looking ridiculously out of place in my modest kitchen with his designer suit and expensive watch, ran a hand through his hair in frustration. So what do you suggest? That I just hang around as some random adult in his life? Yes. That's exactly what I suggest. I turned back to the stove, flipping pancakes with more force than necessary. You need to build a relationship with him first. Earn his trust. Then, when he's ready, we tell him the truth. I felt him come up behind me, his body heat radiating against my back. And what about us? There is no us. Liar. His arms wrapped around my waist, chin resting on my shoulder. You kissed me back yesterday. Twice. That was a mistake. The best mistake we ever made is currently watching cartoons in your living room. His lips brushed my neck, sending shivers down my spine. Let me take you both to dinner. Please. As your friend, if that's all you'll give me. Daddy! Hyunwoo bounced into the kitchen, then stopped short, eyes widening. Oh, the nice man from the café. Jaewook immediately stepped back, but his hand lingered on my waist for a moment longer. Hi, Hyunwoo. Your daddy's making pancakes, huh? He makes the best pancakes in the whole world. Hyunwoo climbed onto a chair, kicking his feet happily. Are you daddy's friend? I watched Jaewook's expression soften as he looked at our son. I'd like to be. Is that okay with you? Sure. Do you like dinosaurs? I really like dinosaurs. Especially T-Rexes because they're scary but also cool. And just like that, my son and his father launched into an animated discussion about prehistoric creatures while I tried not to cry into the pancake batter. 3 weeks passed in a blur of casual visits. Jaewook showed up at the cafe every morning for coffee. He happened to be at the park when Hyunwoo and I went on weekends. He brought age-appropriate gifts, a dinosaur coloring book, a puzzle, a stuffed brachiosaurus that Hyunwoo named Mr. Longneck. And he was patient, gentle. Everything I'd forgotten he could be. Again. Hyunwoo shrieked as Jaewook spun him around in the park, both of them laughing. I sat on the bench, watching them, my heart doing complicated things in my chest. He's good with him, my best friend Dae-hoon commented, settling beside me with coffee. Almost like he's done this before. Don't start. I'm just saying, maybe you should tell the kid. He adores Jaewook already. Calls him Uncle Wookie now. Uncle Wookie was currently lying in the grass, letting Hyunwoo climb on him like a jungle gym. The sound of their combined laughter made my chest ache. I'm scared, I admitted quietly. What if I tell Hyunwoo, and then Jaewook leaves again? What if this is just novelty? What if you're looking for reasons to protect yourself instead of reasons to trust him? I didn't have an answer for that. That night, after I'd put Hyunwoo to bed, I found Jaewook still in my living room, looking at the photos on my wall. Pictures of Hyunwoo as a baby. His first steps. His 4th birthday party last month. I missed all of this, Jaewook said softly, not turning around. His first word. His first laugh. The first time he called you daddy. Jaewook, I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I know it was my fault. He finally looked at me, and the raw emotion in his eyes stole my breath. But I want to be there for everything else. His first day of school. His graduation. His wedding someday. I want it all, Minho. The mundane moments and the milestones. the tantrums and the triumphs. That's a long-term commitment. I know. He crossed to me, taking my hands in his. I want you to move in with me. What? Both of you? I have more than enough space. Hyunwoo could have his own room. I'd decorate it however he wanted. Dinosaurs everywhere if that's what he likes. And you? His thumb stroked over my knuckles. You wouldn't have to work 2 jobs anymore. You could finish your degree like you always wanted. Jaewook, that's too much too fast, I know. But Minho, I'm 32 years old. I've spent 5 years in hell without you. I don't want to waste any more time. I need to think about what's best for Hyunwoo. I am what's best for him. Because I'm his father and I love him and I'm not going anywhere. He pulled me closer, his forehead pressing against mine. And because I'm still completely, desperately in love with his other father. You can't just say things like that. Why not? It's true. His lips brushed mine, featherlight. Move in with me. Let me take care of you both. Let me prove every day that I'm here to stay. And if I say no, then I'll ask again tomorrow. And the day after. And every day until you believe that I mean it. I kissed him instead of answering. Poured 5 years of loneliness and longing and desperate hope into the press of my lips against his. His hands slid into my hair, deepening the kiss, walking me backward until my back hit the wall. Is this a yes? He murmured against my mouth. It's a, maybe we can try dinner at your place. See how Hyunwoo likes it. I'll take it. He kissed down my neck, teeth grazing my mating gland in a way that made my knees buckle. God, I've missed you. Missed this. Jaewook, we can't. Hyun was just down the hall. I know, baby. I know. But his hands still roamed, rediscovering every curve, every sensitive spot that made me gasp. Tell me you've thought about this too. About us. Every night, I admitted breathlessly. I hate that I have. I hate that I still want you after everything. Then stop fighting it. His mouth claimed mine again, demanding, possessive. Stop punishing us both for my mistakes. Let me back in, Minho. All the way. I'm trying, I whispered against his lips. I'm so scared, but I'm trying. That's all I ask. Just try. I'll do the rest. The dinner at Jaewook's penthouse was supposed to be casual. It turned into Hyunwoo declaring he never wanted to leave because Uncle Wookie has a big TV and a bathtub that's like a swimming pool. 2 weeks later we moved in. This is my room? Hyunwoo stood in the doorway of his new bedroom, eyes wide as saucers. Jaewook had gone all out, dinosaur wallpaper, a bed shaped like a race car, shelves already full of books and toys. All yours, buddy, Jaewook said, crouching down beside him. What do you think? It's perfect. Hyunwoo launched himself at Jaewook, who caught him with a laugh, spinning him around. Thank you, Uncle Wookie. This is the best room ever. Over our son's head, Jaewook's eyes met mine. The question in them was clear. When? That night, after Hyunwoo fell asleep surrounded by his new dinosaur army, I found Jaewook on the balcony, staring out at the city lights. Thank you, I said softly, sliding my arms around him from behind. For all of this. For being patient with me. I'd wait forever if that's what you needed. He turned in my arms, pulling me close. But I have to admit, having you here in my home, where you belong, it's everything I've dreamed about for 5 years. It feels right, I admitted. Being here with you. I didn't think it would, but it does. Daddy. We both froze. Hyunwoo stood in the balcony doorway, clutching Mr. Long neck, rubbing his eyes sleepily. Hey baby. Can't sleep? I moved toward him, but he surprised me by walking past me straight to Jaewook. Uncle Wookie, can I ask you something? Jaewook knelt down immediately. Of course, buddy. Anything. Are you going to stay? Forever and ever. His small voice was uncertain, vulnerable in a way that broke my heart. Because I really like you. And Daddy smiles more when you're here. But my friend Juno said his uncle moved away and he never saw him again, and I don't want you to move away. I watched Jaewook's throat work as he swallowed hard. Hyunwoo, He's not your uncle, sweetie, I interrupted softly, kneeling beside them. I think I think it's time we told you something important. Hyunwoo looked between us, confusion clear on his face. What is it, Daddy? I took a deep breath, reaching for Jaewook's hand. You know how some of your friends have two daddies? Or two mommies? But Minjun has two daddies. Well, I squeezed Jaewook's hand, drawing strength from his presence. You have two daddies too. Me and Jaewook. Hyunwoo's eyes went very wide. Really? Jaewook's voice was hoarse with emotion. Really? I'm your father, Hyunwoo. I'm so sorry I wasn't there when you were born, or for your birthdays, or any of the moments I should have been. But if you'll let me, I want to be there for everything from now on. So, you're my daddy? My real daddy? Yes. A tear slipped down Jaewook's cheek. If you want me to be. Hyunwoo was quiet for a long moment, processing. Then, do I have to call you daddy? Because Uncle Wookie is a really cool name. Jaewook laughed, the sound wet and relieved. You can call me whatever you want, buddy. Can you read me a bedtime story? My daddy says good fathers read bedtime stories. I would love to. Jaewook scooped him up, and my heart clenched at the sight of them together. Our son's dark hair against Jaewook's shoulder, the careful way Jaewook held him like he was precious and breakable. I followed them to Hyunwoo's room, listening as Jaewook read in his deep voice, Hyunwoo's questions interrupting every few sentences. Do dinosaurs like bedtime stories too? What's your favorite dinosaur? Will you be here when I wake up? I'll be here, Jaewook promised, pressing a kiss to Hyunwoo's forehead. Every morning from now on. Promise. I promise. You and your daddy are my whole world now. I'm never leaving. When Hyunwoo finally drifted off, we stood together in the doorway of his room, watching him sleep. That went better than expected, I whispered. He's perfect, Jaewook breathed, wrapping an arm around my waist. Thank you. For him. For raising him into such an incredible kid. For giving me a second chance. We're still figuring things out, I reminded him. I know. He turned me to face him, his hands framing my face. But we're figuring it out together now. That's all I need. Later, in the privacy of his bedroom, the kiss turned heated. I've wanted this for so long, Jaewook groaned, walking me backward toward the bed. Wanted you here in my bed, where I can wake up next to you every morning. We have to be quiet, I reminded him breathlessly as he pushed me down onto the mattress. Hyunwoo is asleep in a room on the other side of the apartment. His body covered mine, familiar and right. I'll be quiet, but I'm not sure you will be. Arrogant alpha, I muttered, but my hands were already pulling at his shirt, kneading skin against skin. You're arrogant alpha, he corrected, his mouth finding that sensitive spot on my neck that made me arch against him. Say it, Miho. Tell me you're mine. Yours, I gasped as his hands roamed lower. I'm yours, Jake. I never stopped being yours. He made love to me slowly, thoroughly, like he was trying to memorize every sound I made, every place that made me tremble. 5 years of separation burned away in the heat of his touch, the whispered promises against my skin. I love you, he breathed as I fell apart in his arms. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you too, I finally admitted, the words I'd been holding back for so long. I never stopped. After, lying tangled together in the sheets, his fingers traced lazy patterns on my back. Move in with me, he said. We already did. No, I mean marry me. Officially. Let me put my ring on your finger, my mark on your neck. Let me tell the world you're mine and I'm yours. Jaewook, you don't have to answer now. Just think about it. Think about waking up every day knowing we're a family. That Hyunwoo has both his fathers under one roof, together. He pressed a kiss to my temple. Think about forever, Miho. Because that's what I want with you. I tilted my head up to kiss him, soft and sweet and full of promise. Ask me again in 6 months. When we figured out this co-parenting thing, when Hyun was adjusted, when we've rebuilt what we lost. And then, I smiled against his lips. Then I'll probably say yes. Probably. Definitely, I corrected. 6 months later. Daddy. Come quick. I rushed into the living room to find Hyunwoo jumping up and down excitedly. What is it, baby? Look. He pointed at Jaewook, who was down on one knee, a small velvet box in his hands. Kang Minho, Jaewook said, his voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. You've given me the two greatest gifts of my life, your love and our son. Will you give me one more? Will you marry me? Say yes, Daddy. Hyunwoo urged. Then we can be a real family forever. I looked between them, my son and the love of my life, and felt tears of joy streaming down my face. Yes, I whispered. Yes, yes, yes. Hyunwoo cheered as Jaewook slipped the ring onto my finger, then pulled both of us into his arms. My family, he murmured, pressing kisses to both our heads. My entire world. And finally, after all the pain and separation, all the mistakes and second chances, we were complete. We were home. I'll definitely say yes. His arms tightened around me, and for the first time in 5 years, I felt completely, perfectly at peace.